Good afternoon, everyone. We're your hosts, Grant Cohn, Coach Noah Johnston. Title of the show is Could the 49ers, would the 49ers get Odell Beckham Jr.? He's having a fallout with the Browns, and seems like they could waive him, and someone could pick him up. He's kind of expensive. Let's start there, and then we have a lot of other topics to cover, including Buster Posey retiring, maybe. Anyway, Odell Beckham Jr. Is this a direction the Niners should go? I mean, it could help Trey Lance.
Well, first of all, I don't even know if they could, right? Because if you waive a player, I think you're responsible for the salary. So I don't even know if it could work out. But if it did, I don't know that I don't know that it would solve anything really. Like, why are we worrying about the tires on the car without worrying about the car first? Like, the quarterback is what's going to matter. Like, you could put all these shiny weapons, but if the quarterback is not playing well, then does it really matter? Like, is it just going to be, is Odell Beckham would be just another weapon for Jimmy to throw short to, and or to not be able to get the ball to? And I don't know if
It's a terrible fit with Jimmy, right? Like, just the worst.
yeah, but even if Trey plays, like, Trey's gonna need time, right? And I think that's been the whole thing with people like myself, and I think like yourself, that want Trey to play, because we acknowledge that he needs time to get better, and you're just prolonging that by putting him on the bench. And so I don't know that picking up Odell Beckham is the right fit. I think um, I don't think it's the right time. Like, I don't.
Look, it's a terrible fit with Jimmy Garoppolo. If he doesn't like Baker Mayfield, it'll be worse. It's just a bad fit. Odell wants to get the ball down the field. He's not getting it from Mayfield. He's not going to get it from Jimmy. I do think it's a great fit with Trey Lance, though, in the sense that financially it works because Trey Lance is on his rookie deal, and Odell Beckham's good, and good receivers help young quarterbacks. And I think Odell Beckham could probably catch his passes, unlike Deebo or, I don't know, the other guys on the team. So it would be, but again, he's not the quarterback of this team. He's the backup quarterback, and maybe it's more of a move you would make next year if you could. But I don't know. It's available. It's an opportunity now on the waiver. It could be, if he gets waived, who's going to pick him up? Because again, very few people have the cap space to pull this off. I don't know if the Niners could figure it out. They could always go to a player and say, "Dude, can we give you a bonus? Can we restructure something? Can we, you can do stuff like that."
Yeah. Do stuff like that. I mean, they'll probably go to the Rams.
Yeah. That's why this is an important discussion for the Niners to have, because if they say no, go to the Rams.
But here's the thing, like, why does it matter? Like, you have to acknowledge where you're at. Are the 49ers really contending for a Super Bowl right now?
They just got Charles Omenihu. I don't know. They just got Charles Omenihu, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I think that kind of changes things here.
Yeah. Back on track.
So no, you don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is coming to the 49ers, is what you're saying?
Never say never. Remember, Kyle did say that.
Kyle likes him.
Yeah. Remember when Kyle was asked
to go to D Ford and say, "Look, we'll give you another signing bonus. Let's kick some money down the road, keep you for another 3 years, and we'll free up some money." D Ford always likes to do that. Just give him some
Listen, I mean, we know if Kyle likes a guy, then they'll go get him. I mean, except for Mac Jones. I don't know if
you know what Emmanuel Sanders did for Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, can't Odell Beckham Jr. help him? If Jimmy doesn't trust Odell Beckham Jr., I think he would. Cutting it loose for him. It's gonna hurt.
I don't think it's right.
Brandon Ayuk for him, one for one. No, the trading deadline's over. I'm just kidding. This is a waiver deal. We're kidding. We were joking there. That was a joke. That was jokes.
I'd personally rather have Ayuk. He's younger. I don't have to pay him for another 3 years.
I don't think you can have Jimmy and Odell on the same payroll. But if the Niners waive Jimmy, then they could do it. What do you think?
They could. They're not waiving. They're not going to waive.
I love how you took me seriously there. All right, George Kittle is back. He was on IR for 4 weeks. He injured his calf week 1, re-aggravated week 3, went on IR for 4 weeks, and now he's back. I guess Niner fans, I don't know. The hope would be he's good. He's 100% healthy. Most likely, he's not. Most likely, it's improved, but this is something he's still managing. And if they give him the ball too much, if he plants wrong, he could re-aggravate it again. So my question to you is, does this 49ers season depend on his calf?
No, he's a tight end.
And he hasn't been doing much recently anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I always love
this.
Yeah, I always love
along without him.
Don't go nuts over any position that's not a quarterback. Like, I always love this statistic, right? When you look in Vegas, and I love following money, right? Like, when any other position is out, the line barely moves, if at all. When a quarterback is out, it can go 7-10 points.
Yes.
Like, a tight end doesn't really. The quarterback is what changes the game. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that would have been a close game, the Cowboys and the Vikings, if Dak played?
No.
What's the difference between the Cowboys this season and last season? Dak Prescott.
The quarterback, yes. Oh, God. All right, you're right.
Yeah.
You didn't give me Cowboys had
it. And I don't want to go too off track, but like, if you look at the Niners roster, if you insert a good quarterback, like, they have good players at various. It's not like their roster is barren. If you inserted a good quarterback, that's a good team.
Seems to me that they're running the ball well without him. Charlie Warner's a good blocker all of a sudden, and they're finding ways to. I mean, so is Trent Williams and Kyle. They have a lot of good blockers on the team.
Yeah, and not only that is, I think I've talked about it with you before, is that you can find tight ends in this league. Like, they're finding them all the time. They're on their couch, and then and they're like, "Hey,
you got him, Werner,
good quarterback. Can you come play?"
Yeah, they got a nice little platoon there. Not that they ever used Welly.
Yeah, they use them in reverse. They're like, all right, I think Kyle tries to. He starts to.
You think we're not gonna throw to our blocking tight end, so I'm throwing to my blocking tight end.
Yeah, I'm throwing to the blocking tight end, and you think I'm gonna throw to Welly, but no, he's gonna be.
No, exactly right. He's blocking. Yeah, your best pass rusher. Okay.
Yeah, Kyle, there's a way to use Dwelly. You have the blueprint. Remember the tight end with the concussions last year? Remember how you used him?
Same way.
Yeah.
Same exact way.
Same way.
Anyway, so I'm with you on this. I don't think George Kittle's a very good player when healthy. Not sure he's ever going to be 100% healthy this season. Not sure it really matters. I mean, they're running the ball well without him, and they have Deebo Samuel, who's doing what Kittle does better than Kittle ever did it.
Yeah. I feel like that they should do with Kittle, and they never do it. And they, like, last year remember when you told him he should just shut it down? Like, they don't shut it. Like, dude, shut it down.
The Kinlaw treatment.
Yeah, the Kinlaw treatment. And just get.
Because he hasn't been 100% healthy since he got in the league.
No, like, he don't. Like, he still needs a shoulder surgery.
Right.
He should have gotten
an injury from 2018. I'm sorry.
That should have been done last year when the season was over. I love it that you want to play and all that, and okay, but that's all great. But you're one of the franchise players. Like, go get yourself healthy. Yeah.
Right. So, he's less important than it seems. I think they can be okay without him. Another player with a calf injury, Deebo Samuel, didn't practice today. Apparently re-aggravated the injury against the Bears. They hope and expect he'll play against the Cardinals, which means he probably will. But again, he's not 100% healthy. This is an injury he's had for a few weeks. If they were undefeated right now, he wouldn't be playing, most likely. And he wouldn't play last week, most likely. But they need him. He's the whole offense. He was great in this game. They wouldn't have beat the Bears without him. And apparently, in the process of him going for 170 plus yards or whatever, he re-aggravated his calf injury, and this is going to be something they have to manage all season, just like Kittle. Does the 49ers season depend on Deebo Samuel's calf?
I don't know if their season does, but like, their offense does.
Yeah. I think he's accounting for a little less than 50% of their offense right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it last year, everyone's like, "Oh, you see Jimmy Garoppolo, he's awesome." Deebo had like 170 something yards, right? It was like 2/3 of Jimmy's production.
He's making Jimmy and Kyle look really, really good right now. Both of them. They should really be thanking him.
And that's despite the drops. Like imagine if he
True.
like,
leading the league in drops right now. But he is the offense. When Lance is the quarterback, he's not the offense. But when Jimmy's the quarterback, Deebo is the freaking offense. So to me, I think the season does depend on Deebo's calf. If they have Deebo, they're competitive. If they don't have Deebo, I'm not really sure what this offense is anymore. I'm not really sure what they can do without Deebo this year because Kittle isn't what he used to be. Ayuk isn't. I mean, I'm not sure where Ayuk stands. And the run game is good right now, but you need to have someone you could throw the ball to.
Yeah, and I think if Deebo wasn't there and imagine what defensive coordinators could do to the 49ers run game if they didn't have to worry about Deebo Samuel.
Exactly.
And I haven't seen it yet, but I think at some point I think he's gonna have to require double teams and things of that nature. You're really gonna have to turn your coverage towards him if they're not already.
And that's why it's so important for them really not to practice him today, to be really easy with him during the week, and to not overuse him in November. I know these are all must-win games, and the more you get in the ball, the more likely you are to win, but you can't burn him out before December. You have to get other people involved on offense. That's why Ross Kelly is so important. No, I'm just kidding. Other people need to be involved on offense, really. It's important. So I guess Kittle coming back is so important.
Whatever happened to is Trent Sherfield? Is he still on the roster?
Who?
Trent Sherfield.
I vaguely remember that training camp, right?
Yeah.
I remember that guy. Yeah, I don't know. I think so. They lost interest in him though, really fast. Maybe he's not practicing well enough anymore. Oh wait, he's the hardest practicer on the team. I couldn't tell you.
Hurd could come back and have big season.
Yeah. Deebo Samuel, this is very important how the Niners handle this. It's almost like they used him more than they would have liked to against the Bears because it was necessary to beat the Bears. And now we don't even know if he's going to play this week. And if he doesn't play against the Cardinals, they're going to lose. So
it'll be right. Travis Benjamin.
They're in a very interesting position of need Deebo to play every week to keep the season alive. As soon as Deebo gets hurt, the season's over. So got to be really careful there. Walk that line. All right, last one, and then we'll take some questions. Elijah Mitchell. He's had a shoulder injury, played through it. Wasn't great. Got healthy, had 2 great games in a row. Now he's got a rib injury. Didn't practice today. Does the season depend on his health and durability, availability?
It's kind of yes and no. It's hard to say with a running back because they tend to be able to find them, but then they tend to get them all hurt.
I know, right?
And then they draft 2, but don't use 1. Like, so
this guy seems pretty important right now.
Yes and no. Like, why? I don't know why Trey Sermon can't get the ball, but
true.
But
it seems a little petty, but it seems to me like, look, we always think the Niners can get the running back, but they couldn't really last year. And that's a big reason they went 6-10 because McKinnon was awful. Jeff Wilson Jr. was in and out. Mostert was mostly out. Jermichael Hasty was mostly out. Mitchell, he just seems to give them what Mostert gave him when he was healthy, or some of it. And when they have that kind of a running back, they're dangerous. I don't know. I feel like he gives them new life. I look at this team differently with Mitchell.
And with Jeff Wilson coming back, I think if he comes back, I mean, they just got to stay healthy. It's just
Mitchell gives them their identity. When they have a running back who can do this, they can be themselves. But as soon as he goes down, then they're like, what are we doing? We're in the gun. We're throwing the ball around. They're just not themselves. So I think he's important in that sense. He's the only running back they trust, and he allows them to be themselves. So I think he's that important.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I think it all stems. Do they have a running back that can give them the outside zone?
I don't know if that's probably not what he's.
No, Mostert is better. He's better at it than Mitchell, but Mitchell's still very good at it, right? So, and he can do some other thing. He's a better inside runner than Mostert, and obviously he can run the outside zone effectively. And yeah, they need that play in order. That's Shanahan's bread and butter. So that's their base run play.
Their best play this season.
Run to the left.
Yeah, two best plays this season are toss to the left and Trey Lance scramble. Those are their best plays. So they're not using the Trey Lance scramble right now. It's fair. Toss left is great, and Mitchell had 3 of them, and I think all of them were big plays. And the last one ended the game pretty much. Got him right down in the field goal range with not that much time left. So yeah, very important. And it seems so easy. You just need a fast running back who's tough and yeah. Well, it's not Tevin Coleman. It's apparently not Trey Sermon. It's really not JaMychal Hasty. It's Mitchell. So they need, and so I guess the moral of the story, the reason I brought all these little topics up, Kittle, Deebo, yeah, the Niners want to use these guys a lot because they're so important, the engines of the offense. Elijah Mitchell's getting like 18 carries a game. They got to be careful with him. They got to find a way to get Mitchell down to 14 or 15 carries, not 18.
Maybe you put Lance back there, running back.
Thank you. That's what I was getting at. That's exactly what I was getting at. All right, let's take some questions. Just a second. I don't want to miss any because I know I did. Please no OBJ, not locker room fit, and will want to be bigger than the scheme. He is a little bit of a crybaby. If he doesn't get the ball, he'll pout. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there could be a mutual. Kyle loves him. Kyle will call plays for him. I feel like Jimmy would throw him the ball. If he threw Emmanuel Sanders the ball, he would throw Odell Beckham Jr. the ball. I would think. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Baker doesn't.
I think if they were in a different spot, I think it would be a good look. But right now, I don't think so.
If he's waived, isn't it a possibility he won't make it to us if someone claimed it first?
That's correct.
Is that he's expensive. So a lot of people can't or would have to do some gymnastics to get him under their cap, and maybe the Niners would be one of the teams to be willing to do it. Probably not.
I think the teams, if just off the top of my head, I think the teams with the biggest cap space are like Carolina and the Chargers. I think that those are 2 of the bigger ones. So those are the 2 ones I probably
would be a nice little spot. If I were him, I'd like to go there.
Yeah, Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Do you understand what this team would be if we had OBJ, Ayuk as your number 3? Oh my word. Trey, OBJ, Deebo, Ayuk, Kittle. Next year would be a wrap.
Who's throwing to them?
Trey Lance.
I hope so. White. I hope so.
Mike White.
Mike White.
What do people say about Mike White in Jersey? Nothing. Not a damn thing. Who's Kittle? Yeah. Who is Kittle? Kittles?
Yeah. I'm wondering if like it's not gonna happen, but if Kyle was like, oh, Trey Lance is starting this week, if Kittle, oh my calf, I gotta stop. I don't think I can make it.
Oh my god. Ooh, yeah, I can see that. I understand what you're saying. Can Trey Lance win a playoff game? All love from the OC. I don't know. Let's give him a chance.
I mean, he can't win a playoff game if you don't play him, and then all of a sudden Jimmy gets hurt. Let's say the Niners make the playoffs, but Jimmy gets hurt in the last game, and then Trey Lance's second start has to be a playoff game, and then he's playing the Rams, and he plays like crap. Well, what do you expect him to play like? Was second start in the playoffs, like
yeah. Barry Baller 18 says, Grant, you're in my doghouse with your Posey tweets. I love trolling Barry about Buster Posey because he is a saint out here. You cannot say anything about him, and it's fun to point out that his resume is only slightly better than Jorge Posada's, who's not in the Hall of Fame. People are like, but Buster Posey was an exemplary human being, and Buster Posey was a man of the community. I was like, okay, all right, I feel you. Yeah, with Buster, the emotional impact he had on the locker room can't be overstated. It's like, okay, all right. But Joe Mauer had a better career than him. What? Did Joe Mauer ever win a championship? It's baseball. It's not. It doesn't. Who cares? But Barry Bonds never won a championship. What? Sorry. I'm sorry. I like trolling Bay Area sports fans, especially Bay Area Baller 18. That's the one I like.
Baseball is very much that sport where like all that other stuff like matters. Like, oh, he's a man of character, and like look at all the people that are in the Hall of Fame because of stuff like that. Like, I mean, there's a guy that's probably going to go to jail for a couple years, but the NFL is going to let him back and when he's out.
I was just thinking that today after he pays his debt to Simon. What a terrible story. 156 miles an hour. Dustin says, Deebo gets hurt. I magically leave the doghouse. Your thoughts? Look, I understand why the Niners put Ayuk in the doghouse. If he has poor practice habits and all the teammates see it, they want you to have a consistent culture. Fine. But you trying to like prove a point cost you games. You lost 4 in a row because your offense wasn't good enough. You could have used Ayuk on game days, but now you've brought out a better Ayuk. That's great. It cost you 4 losses in a row. That's why we say you were cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Well, right. And let's hold up. Like, we've only seen him really play
one game.
The better Ayuk for one game. Like, let's see it continue to trend that way.
Good point. Maybe it was just that he was facing.
Yeah, let's not jump to conclusions. Like, let's not watch Jimmy Garoppolo throw for 1 300-yard game against the Bears and then be like, "Oh, he's back! Did you see that?" Like,
we have to get like a jump to conclusions, Matt, for the 49ers after games. Do you remember the jump to conclusions, Matt, from Office Space? You don't remember that?
No, I do. I've seen that movie.
You see, it'd be this mat with different conclusions on it that you could jump to. I'm sorry, you'd have to watch Office Space again.
Okay, we're gonna need that, and we're gonna need tinfoil hats.
I like that. There's not enough cap space anyways, y'all. You can always create cap space. Ask the Rams. There are ways. Run the table, mix in Trey if Jimmy fails. Yeah, I say run the table. That's definitely what the Niners. That should be the game plan. Win all the games.
Yeah.
If I were the head coach, I'd be like, all right, here's what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna win all the games. End of story.
Yeah.
Any questions? Did I ever tell you the story that apparently, like, it was 2008 or something? It was the first full year of Mike Singletary as a head coach. He comes in first team meeting of training camp, looks at everyone, doesn't say a word, turns his back, goes to the dry erase board, just writes 16-0 on the dry erase board, turns around and looks at everyone. It's like, oh my God, we have a terrible head coach. That really happened.
And what was their record? And what was
probably like, I don't know. Kyle has the most diverse offense. Sure. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say that, but it's it's an offense.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think Andy Reid probably has the most diverse offense. It's
not looking so good this year, though.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's 1 year.
The offense that's looking real good this year is Sean McVay's. Can we just give him a little? I know people in the Bay don't like to give him any credit. It's cool to not give him credit, but he's doing a very good job.
It's interesting that you brought that up because I had thought of something in regards to that. I think we've talked about how like the Rams went out and aggressively got Matthew Stafford, and that's why they got him. But do you think that maybe Stafford was like, I'm not really that interested in playing for Kyle Shanahan or the Niners. Like, I want to go to the.
Look, I reported that basically his camp thought the Niners were in the lead for him. I also heard that he was a little unsure of how he felt about playing in Northern California. Not against it, but I don't know if it was a Kyle thing as like the Bay. It's like, well, it's the South Bay. First of all, it's not. I'm not going to be living on Russian Hill in San Francisco. Also, it's like a very politically specific place, and he's different. Anyway, ended up in LA, which is, I think, usually more desirable for people out of state that don't know anything about California. So anyway, just saying, it might have been just he wasn't really super excited about Santa Clara or Northern California or whatever like that. I'm sure he would. I bet he would have came, but as soon as he heard the Rams were interested, he was like, "Oh." I'm saying, are you kidding? Yeah. I'd rather live in, is it Thousand Oaks? I'd rather live in Thousand Oaks and Santa Clara. I'll say that.
He wasn't like, Kyle Shanahan!
If Deebo has his own trainers working on him, then he should play. If it is the Niners trainers, I would not risk his future. Sorry, Grant. Apologize to your dad for me. I know he does not like me mentioning that. Oh, the trainers. Oh, man. Yeah, right. Like, why do all the good players in the 49ers have calf injuries this year? All of them. Scary stuff. Jimmy?
It's a good point. I mean, right? Trent's it's ankle, right?
Last year was high ankle. This year's calf. There's like a theme with the injuries every year. You little undercover troll, Grant, 69, and sometimes you contradict yourself and don't even admit it when you do. Step your game up. Dang. You should probably have receipts if you want to come at me like that, but I bet you're right.
Probably.
I bet you're right. I don't know the rules. If Browns cut OBJ, could he still go on a team this year, or are we talking about next season here? Waivers.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a waiver.
NorCal more beautiful than La La Land? It's too beautiful in LA, NorCal all day. Yeah, look, the reason I'm NorCal, I lived in LA for 4 years. It's a lot of fun. I like it. But first of all, the food scene is so much better in the Bay. Like Oakland's restaurants are way better than LA. And you can find good restaurants in LA, but you got to know where they are. Most of the places are just trendy places where people just, want to be seen. Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
Did you eat anything? No, I just had avocado toast. Like, it's a lot of places that are trendy with like mediocre food. LA, I can't take that. It's like you call yourself a world-class city, and I have to like really search for a nice restaurant. Nah, I'm gonna stick around in Oakland where I have like 8 on my street down the street. I don't know. That's how I felt. But LA's got, it's got all the concerts, all the stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's got the beach. It's a nice. I like going there.
Hollywood, LeBron.
Hollywood's a lot of fun.
Chip Kelly's there.
All right, let's talk about some other stuff. We're going to do a little game called Real or Mirage. It has no ring to it. So I'm going to work on the name.
Yeah.
The Niners have the 5th ranked defense in terms of yards allowed. I mean, meaning they've given up the 5th fewest yards in the league this year. That's great. They were the 5th ranked defense last year too. Do you think that's real? Do you think it'll sustain, or do you think it's a mirage?
I think it's a mirage. A couple things. Now they did have a period of time where they played really well, and they did like a lot of what they're doing, but I think what's going on is a couple things. First is like now their entire back end, aside from Mosley, is injured. Mm-hmm. That's going to play. That's going to have a huge effect on their season going forward. And even beyond that, they've had problems against the run the entire year.
Right.
And that's got to get cleaned up. Like, I know the modern NFL is about stopping the pass, but you still have to stop the run. Like, you can't just let teams run all over you, especially if your offense isn't scoring, then you got to be able to stop the run, because then the run is still in play. It'd be different if your offense is putting up,
35,
30 games.
Go ahead and run the ball. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then you can do those sort of things. But
Kansas City could do that the last couple of years. Like,
when you're in a close game, when you're in these close games, you got to be able to stop the run. And I was actually watching the Indy All 22 a little bit before this, and I'm kind of seeing the same. I think a lot of people are talking about the defensive tackles, but I just think, to me, their linebackers trigger real late on the run, linebackers and safeties, and I think that's maybe the biggest thing that's going on there with their run fits.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a mirage too. I mean, they really have accomplished this. They are a good defense, but they're also ranked 22nd in points allowed, and I think there's a reason for that. They're not particularly good in the red zone, and they don't force turnovers.
No, that's the other thing either. They're last. I think they're last.
No, I think like the bottom 3. I think Jacksonville's bad too, but really, really low. Also, what you mentioned about the run defense, I don't think they're a top 5 defense in the league. Fred Warner today said he thinks they can be or should be, but I think they don't do a good job stopping the run. And their secondary is cobbled together. So maybe a top 10 defense. It probably could finish the season as a top 10 defense, but I think it's going to regress a little bit.
Yeah, especially now.
We're seeing it regress a little bit. They've done a good job against their division opponents, but really not against anyone else.
I think the pass defense is. I think they could. They were able to do a little bit something because their secondary wasn't as terrible as maybe people think. What people are making them out to be. Like they had Josh Norman out there, and he committed a lot of penalties. And but Mosley was playing really well. As he had his worst game last week. Prior to that, he was playing. He was playing outstanding. And obviously Ward. And I thought Ward was playing well. Tart was good. So they were solid, but they still had that to hang their hat on, the new defensive line, even though they were giving up the runs. But now, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they'll have their defensive line, and Warner's still a good linebacker. So, yeah, I'm going to go Mirage there. I'd expect that fifth-ranked defense to look a little different at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I keep going back to it. They did such a good job against Seahawks and the Cardinals, but those are teams that DeMeco Ryans has faced a lot of times. He knows how they game plan for those teams in the past. He didn't do a good job against the Bears. I mean, that team was averaging 14 points a game, and they came in at scored 22 against them. Scored 22, and the Niners couldn't contain Justin Fields at all. I mean, he was throwing to guys I'd never heard of, and Marquise Goodwin, who I didn't realize was still in the league. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. They should do a good job against the Cardinals. They just did a good job against them a few weeks ago. And the following week, they should do a good job against the Rams. They always do. But are they going to make Jacksonville look good? Are they going to make Trevor Lawrence look like the dude he was at Clemson? I don't know.
Have you or any of the beat reporters asked Kyle or DeMeco about the turnovers?
Yeah. They always say stuff like, oh, they come in bunches. We work on it every day. It's something we stress. It's a point of emphasis. And we keep plugging away. We drill this and drill that. Stuff like that. Yeah. All right. Next thing, same topic. The Niners have the 27th ranked run defense, which means they've given up, what is that? The 6th most rushing yards in the league. Something like that. 7th most. Do you think that's real, as in, like, is it really that bad, or is it a mirage in the sense that it's not that bad? It's gonna get better. It'll regress. It'll revert back to the mean. It's more mediocre than bad.
It's bad. However, I think the mirage part of it is a little bit of a mirage. Only that what we just talked about is that they're in these games where teams can run the ball on them. Whereas other teams maybe aren't. But they really aren't that good at stopping the run. So it's pretty accurate. I wouldn't expect them to improve that much on that. I think they're gonna probably be around 25-ish, something around there by the end of the year.
Okay. So why are they a bad run defense? I mean, let's break it down systematically.
To me, I just said it before. I think it's because their linebacker safety trigger slow. And I think it's taught because it seems to me that everybody's doing it. So like you can't. I'm looking at it. Oh, it's not just.
You don't want to get beat on play action and passes, so they're triggering slow on runs.
Yes,
that's a philosophy. To me, that's modern defense. Okay, fair enough. But to me, I think it's more than that. I mean, also their defensive tackles are getting washed out.
Yeah, that's part of it too. I mean, it definitely
part of it. And I think defensive ends aren't really. I mean, even Bosa's been great against the pass, but the Bears were having a lot of success running right at him in that game, which surprised me. So I think it's sort of like the whole freaking defense isn't particularly good against the run. Did I lose you? Oh no, sorry.
No, I got you. I'm
here.
You're
just staring at me like you can't believe
it. I mentioned
I wasn't putting down Bosa. I just feel like he's got a hand in this run defense too.
They all do. I mean,
they all do.
They all do it, and especially I think it's okay to put it on Bosa because I think if you're going to put Bosa as a top 5 player on this team, and if you're going to put him as a top 5 edge rusher, I think most people do, then there are certain expectations that come with it, and one of them is stopping the run. So I think it's okay to put it on Bosa. I wasn't able to get. I don't have the all 22 for the Chicago, so I wasn't able to see like.
I haven't seen the defense. I just remember being there looking like, man, they keep running to their left, which is the Niners' defensive right, which is Bosa. So
yeah, my only thing is before I would pin it on him, and it very well could be his fault. Is they might be doing something to him which he can't solve, like double or anything like that, and making it. And that's actually pretty smart by a team, like because Bosa is typically
crack down on him with someone like a tight end or a wide receiver.
Yeah, and put it on a corner to make the tackle, or put it on a safety to make the tackle, not take away Bosa.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Same thing. It's the same thing you would do as a defense coordinator: is make throw to their players. Don't let Deebo beat you. Make Ayuk or.
This is funny. Like most times you think we got to run away from Bosa, but no, I think actually what you do is run at him because he's a menace on backside pursuit. He's really runs hard, but if you run at him, there are ways that you can kind of judo him out of the play. Use his momentum and power against him. So yeah, not a mirage. This is bad run defense. I think Robert Saleh was actually really good. Always had a good run defense here. Going to see if D'Amico can do it. We'll see. Big task. Hold on. We're going to come back to that question. Jimmy Garoppolo most likely starting unless they're going to pull a fast one against the Cardinals. He didn't play against the Cardinals earlier this year. Cardinals have a really good defense, although J.J. Watt ain't going to play. But they got Chandler Jones, Byron Murphy, other guys, Budda Baker, who were good. Trey Lance had a tough time against him. I mean, he played well for a guy making his first start, but that was tough. What do you expect from Jimmy against the Cardinals?
I think I would expect the rest of the season, aside from past game where he played the terrible Bears.
I expect to see the same exact Jimmy Garoppolo we see every week. And my hot take from this last game against the Bears is it was the same Jimmy. It was the same Jimmy. Just the Bears weren't that great.
Right.
The Bears had no pass rush, and they had their best DB got hurt in like the second play. And, Jimmy had a modest game that looked better because he ran for 2 touchdowns and Deebo did what he did. So it was Jimmy.
Yeah. How is that a hot? How is that a hot take? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, he's good for about 240 yards and maybe a couple touchdowns, maybe.
That's 240 yards. That might be a good game.
That's usually more like 215, 220. Maybe a touchdown or 2, a turnover. Usually that's him. But in this game, he was going up against a team that had no interest in rushing the quarterback, or just he had the benefit of an offensive line that was playing out of their minds. You pick. I don't know. But he had time. And he had Deebo. And he had Elijah Mitchell. So his modest abilities look better on paper.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I just feel like he's going against a much better defense. And they're going to make him, they're not going to make him look like Super Jimmy. He's not going to be running for 2 touchdowns and throwing the ball into the end zone and spiking it. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Trent Williams isn't at 100%. He didn't practice today. He's got to be going against Chandler Jones. That's tough. So,
Zach from Connecticut,
Marcus Golden. I'm just going to keep naming names. Yeah.
Marcus Golden has, I think he has 6. Doesn't he have 6 sacks?
So I don't know what to expect. And one more thing with this. Let's say Jimmy Garoppolo has another slow start because he's had a lot of them in a row. Am I wrong with that? No, he's had a lot of slow starts in a row. Even this last game, they had 9 points at halftime, which was a banner freaking first half.
And it looked like he was about to get pulled.
I don't know. It could have been. My question to you is if he starts out slow again and the Niners are like down 7-10 at halftime, is he playing for his job again? Is this week to week for him? Or is it, I think he is, man.
I think so. But the thing is, it's like they seem to just
keeps playing well enough that it doesn't come up, but just well enough.
It sounds like he is. If what you reported was true, if Kyle did say what he said to him, it sounds like Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was. We just thought he could have been talking about the previous drive, or he could have been talking about the upcoming drive. Like, hey, man, I'm calling this deep shot to Deebo. Will you pull the trigger? It could have been. That's what Jack was saying. We don't know. True. So I don't know if he was gonna bench him, but it seemed to me like, dude, if you went in halftime with 6 points, down 7, it'd be easy to bench you at that point. But the fact that he went in off a nice drive, you can't do it.
No, you
Can't do it. Can't do it. So I do think. I mean, he doesn't have to do much to stay the quarterback, but I do think he has to do something. He has to do something. And if he has another stinker in the first half and Arizona takes advantage, all bets are off. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and with Jimmy, it's like you're just waiting for that 3 turnover game. You know?
Yeah, it happens like once a month.
Yeah, so it's and this could be it. Like this could be one where Cardinals. The Cardinals it looks like Murray is not going to play. I might be listed as doubtful.
No. Today he didn't practice today, but Cliff Kingsbury said he'd play him even if he doesn't practice all week because he knows the offense so well. Obviously, you have no chance to win if you don't play Kyler Murray. So even if he can't move, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this game. But I don't know how good he'll be if a Kyler who can't move, it's not just can't scramble, but can't make Nick Bosa miss, like which he normally can do. So I don't know how good he'll be, but he'll still take him over Colton.
Yeah, I mean that if he does play, I mean I'm pretty sure that D'Amico Ryan's game plan is to hit Kyler Murray and hit Kyler Murray and hit Kyler Murray.
Oh, I think so. Real quick, did you know that Will Smith's name is Willard? I didn't know that.
How did that come up? Where's the trivia guy? Is that the trivia guy? What's his name?
Willard Smith Jr.
Bo knows, is that you?
I saw something on Twitter where he said he was gonna he said in his biography that he wanted to attack his dad or something. So I looked and it said his dad was Willard Smith Sr. I was like, wait a second. His name is Willard? And then I looked it up. His name is Willard Smith Jr. How can you be that famous with a name like Willard? No, it's a good name. If you're out there, your name is Willard. I like the name Willard. Good name. I was surprised. This whole time I thought it was William, but it's not. All right, moving on. That takes me to my perfect segue to my next topic. So Jalen Smith, excuse me, let me start over. So Jalen Moore is very intriguing because the Niners have him at left tackle where he has no future. Trent Williams has been signed for a very long time. But Trent Williams misses a game here and there, and Jalen Moore replaced him recently and played well. Looked pretty good. My question is he not one of their 5 best offensive linemen right now? And should he not start over Mike McGlinchey right now and going forward, based on what you've seen?
I thought about this too, but the thing is, left tackle and right tackle are different. It's not this. You just
ask Penei Sewell, right?
Yeah, and ask the second round draft pick. The Niners.
It's true.
It's true. Not. I mean, that's what it's not just that. It's just not just that simple. But I think this is something you have to look at doing in off season.
Yeah, it just seems to me that it's a waste to just see he could only play left tackle. That's the only position he can play. Well,
I think
he happens to be behind the best player on the offensive line. So what's up with that? You need to get your
drafted him as a tackle, right? I think didn't they say that?
They drafted him with saying they wanted to move him to guard, but then Justin School went down and they needed to keep him at tackle. He ended up being good. They said when they drafted him, the plan was to see what he could do at guard. He played some guard at the Senior Bowl. But then School went down. They played him at tackle. He was good at tackle. Better than Tom Compton.
I mean,
better than Mike McGlinchey. Oh, snap.
It's something that they should look at because if he can actually pass block and execute the run block, the running game, then yeah, you should look at that as an option. I think they did pick up McGlinchey's option, so they are on the hook for his salary next year, which I think is $10 million. I think.
Too bad.
However, if someone is willing to give you a 3rd round pick, would you eat that $10 million?
You wouldn't have to eat the $10 million. It's their $10 million then.
I think it's guaranteed. I think I'd have to.
Oh, you have the dead cap and stuff. Yeah.
I think because I think that is guaranteed, but maybe not. I mean, if it's not guaranteed, just
yeah.
I'm sure, like,
God,
She's
I
still
don't
a
understand
stud.
how Trey Sermon can't play and Brandon Ayuk's in the doghouse and yada yada yada, but Mike McGlinchey is just above reproach. Like, why? I don't get that. Why is Mike McGlinchey above reproach? And you talk to like Kyle, he looks at you like, what are you talking about? What? Oh, but Brandon Ayuk didn't run one route hard enough on a Wednesday, but Mike McGlinchey get pushed around repeatedly on a Sunday. That's okay, whatever.
Because he's an ex-captain.
Culture.
And when
It's all about the culture. Okay.
He's an ex-captain, and when
I
you're
think the 49ers have one of their 5 best offensive linemen on the bench. Now, it's not an issue. This last week, they played great against the Bears. But see what happens against the Cardinals. See what happens 2 weeks against the Rams. I think not playing Jalen Moore is going to come back to bite the Niners at a certain point this year. I don't think they're good enough to just have one of their 5 best O-line on the bench. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, you're probably right, and I think they probably do need a long. If Jalen Moore is one of their best 5, they need a long-term plan. I don't necessarily know that
it shouldn't be on the left, dude. There's no future there for you.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
none.
unless
You want to move Trent Williams to the right,
volunteering to move to the right, like I don't know.
All right, last topic, and then we'll take the questions, and then we'll go. Javon Kinlaw done for the year. Got a second opinion. The second opinion said another cleanup. They said the Niners feel like this is going to fix it. Do you think that this will fix it and that Kinlaw will end up having a good career? Like he'll bounce back and be what they wanted him to be?
Full disclosure, I
know you like him.
I've been a pro Kinlaw guy. I thought this year was going to have a breakout year.
Yeah.
And
he might have. He wasn't hurt, but he's hurt.
Yeah, I still think as a player, I think he would if he wasn't hurt. But the thing is, and most of his critics have been, this was the major point. I think it's yourself and Jack have laid in heavy on his knee. His knee that was there before the draft. It was flagged. It's reported, but it's flagged by a lot of teams. Niners overlooked.
Probably why he was available at 14. I mean, if that wasn't there, he looked like the kind of prospect who would go top 8.
Yeah. So, and the Niners decided to overlook it. They drafted him. I was one person that took their word and like, oh yeah, I'll take the word of their doctors and like, yeah, it'll be. I think it's a good.
Their doctors have a good track record.
And it looks like I was wrong and they were wrong. Looking at the situation now, I don't think it'll get.
It's looking bleak, right? Yeah.
It is looking like it's going to be the same deal. That it's going to be a long-term thing.
Todd Gurley vibes, except without the 2 good years that Gurley had.
Yeah, he might come back and it's probably going to be similar to this past year or last year where he's going to have a game where he'll play a little bit, but then he'll have to rest it. He'll be out some games and it's unfortunate. It has nothing to do with I think the Kinlaw story itself about what he's been through to make it to the league, it's pretty outstanding. But from a medical perspective, and it's just that's not the kind of players you want to draft.
Yeah. So what are the lessons the Niners learned from this mistake?
See, I think they may have learned it, but the problem is you can't overturn a roster that you took 3 to 4 years to build with all these players. It can't be done in one. It's not a basketball team. It can't be done. So yeah, they had one
brick by brick, right? A lot of these bricks have cracks.
Yeah, it's a lot of cracks
in the foundation. Probably.
Right.
Yep.
So I thought they did a great job in the medical sense in this past draft. However, you've got 3 other drafts.
In the sense that they didn't draft anyone who's currently injured in the first 3 rounds. That's a good start. That's the first lesson. Don't draft someone who's currently injured in the first 3 rounds. They've done that a lot. I mean, they did it with Bosa. It worked out. But they did it with Foster. They did it again with Kinlaw. Didn't work out.
Now, they did re-sign their whole secondary, which all had injury history. And
how's that going? Ford out, Dart out, Brett out, Mosley in and out, K1 in and out.
So we have to see this offseason, have they learned their lesson? Have they learned their lesson there?
Hold on, though. There's another lesson here with Kinlaw.
Yeah.
You don't trade someone like DeForest Buckner for someone like Javon Kinlaw. Let me say what that means. You knew Buckner was injury-free, dependable, a leader, and excellent. Like all the things. You don't trade that for anything other than someone who's like that. A sure thing. Not some, draft pick with a bum knee. No way. If you're trading someone like Kittle, who's got injury issues, okay, I can see trading him for someone else who has injury issues too, but not someone like Buckner. That has to be for a sure thing, because he's a sure thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because you just gave away Buckner. Say what you want about how good Buckner is. I know people argue that, but you gave him away. Got nothing for him.
I don't. So in my opinion, I don't think that. In my opinion, I think that the issue is what they did with what they got from Buckner, not Buckner himself. I think what I talked about before. Ultimately, like the quarterback is going to make the difference. Like looking at it's like the Buckner moves, like several Buckner moves have to add up to really make a big difference on your team. I think.
Yeah, but giving Buckner away and getting nothing in return doesn't help, and I think it does hurt. Maybe it doesn't move the needle much on the spread on Sundays, but I think it's a big drop off from Buckner to Kentavious Street.
If you look at the draft, if you look at that draft though, there's a way where they could have gotten value at 13, and then they could have replaced the defense.
That would have required them being good at drafting. I know in retrospect, it's like, well, there were two guys there who definitely would have been worth the trade. Well, that would have required John Lynch identifying that guy, or Kyle, or Parag, and they don't have that track record.
Or you could replace when you.
That's why the Rams don't even try. It's like, look, we know we're probably gonna get this wrong. It's hard. It seems easy in retrospect. It's not. So we're just not gonna try. We're gonna get Jalen Ramsey. I know what Jalen Ramsey can do against NFL. I've seen him do it. I'm just saying.
Right, and I think the Rams are kind of doing. To me, I think the opposite of what the Rams are doing is you accumulate lots of draft picks because it's hard. So what you do, you get more chances, right? So
you use them on proven players, or you get a lot of them and accept that you're going to bust. You're going to get some because you're not shopping for commodities. You're drafting people.
Yes,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not
young men. Yeah.
Yep. So I think you kind of got to go one way or another. I think if you look at it long term, in Super Bowl wise, it seems like accumulating draft picks has equaled Super Bowls and sustained success.
Yeah, Rams haven't won anything yet. Let's see if it works for them.
Yeah, it might, but it might.
They look good.
No, they do look really good.
All right, let's answer these questions. Why can't the Niners win at home? Any reasons? Yeah, 10 of the last 11. That is so weird, especially when they actually seem to do pretty well on the road, at least the last few years. Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. Do the majority of their players have like East Coast biological clocks? I don't.
Maybe it's the fact that I don't know if it's a disadvantage, but it doesn't seem like there's much of a home field advantage at Levi's. Let's say that. How about that? There's a thing like Levi's. All the rich people sit right like 50-yard line in the first deck, east side, and those are the worst seats because they get the east side gets no sun protection. So there's never anyone sitting there. Like all the rich people are, down in the lounges and stuff. So there's always this big blank spot right in the middle of the east side of the first deck of the stands, and it's glaring. And it just seemed like it's just kind of it's not a home field advantage, in my opinion. I don't know. That's not the reason they're losing at home, but it's they're not going to get a big boost from the stadium environment atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I have to look at it, but I don't think it's a turf and grass thing. Because off the top of my head, they have had some wins. They have had wins on.
Maybe Kyle is sandbagging it just to stick it to Jed York for some unknown reason. Oh, you wanted me to take Trey Lance? Well, now you're never going to get any wins at Leave. We're only going to win on the road now. Tinfoil hat. Deebo against slot corners, he would flail them.
He's flailing. Yeah, he's flailing.
Yeah,
he's flailing
Final score prediction for Sunday's game, Grant. Oh, no. I don't need no. I'm gonna wait till Friday on that one. I gotta know. I gotta get more information on Kyler.
49ers 149. Arizona
2.
Yeah.
Kittle and Deebo in slot crossing routes. Ayuk red zone. I'd like to see Kyle get all 3 involved in the same game. Can you do it? He's never done it.
Like what would you qualify as involved? Like one having like 70 plus
Each
yards.
getting 5 targets.
Okay, 5 targets.
5 targets.
And but you got they have to catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Chicago gave up middle of the field a lot, which was weird if you really want to game plan against Jimmy. You got to spy his middle of the field throws. Yeah, it's funny how non-divisional opponents really don't know each other that well. That always surprised me. You think that these teams are just going to have like just the most sophisticated game plans, and then you watch Chicago and you're like, dude, you should have called me. I could have told you. What are you doing? What? Yeah. But divisional games next 2 weeks is going to be interesting.
They can just watch your channel and be like, oh,
they should. Yeah, they don't have to call me. Anthony says, Grant, you should get some mods or a mod so that they can take care of weirdos in chat.
He's got one.
I got one. I guess he's not here now. Do we have weirdos in the chat? Sorry. Raheem Sermon Mitchell season next year. I love Raheem Mostert. They got to get rid of him. No more depending on players who get hurt on all the time. Raheem Mostert's great. He needs to go to another team. The Niners are built on players like Raheem Mostert. You can have one guy like that, maybe 2. And
yeah, they got to start trimming this roster off.
Sorry, I love Raheem Mostert, and he's an asset for a team that doesn't have this problem. If you can have one risk, okay, we'll bring in Raheem Mostert. He's not our starting running back though; he'll be our backup, and when he's healthy, we'll win. But we don't. We're not counting on him or expecting him to be healthy.
What have you talked about this on any of your on your casts? Is why are they sticking with Robbie Gould? Like I know, like this guy.
They extended his contract, and he held out.
Let him. I don't know. Like I thought, looking at when Sly, the way Sly was kicking, I thought it was like, hey,
nah, man, Sly can't even make the extra points. They need to get someone better than Gold, though. They can't be having this guy's getting hurt, missing game. You can't have that. Aaron Rodgers lied about being vaccinated. NFL should make GB forfeit.
Hey, wait. Odell Beckham can kick.
Do you think the NFL will make the Green Bay Packers? Does it matter though? I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't vaccinated.
Wait, so Aaron Rodgers lied about it?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. He said he was immunized, which is technically not a lie. He just kind of, you know what I mean? Like he technically didn't lie. People interpreted it incorrectly.
It's Aaron Rodgers, so
he intentionally misled the public. Kinlaw isn't hurt or injured. Dude is disabled. Oh. Yeah. What does that make Jalen Hurd? Trade Buckner for some position high chance for failure. Trade Buckner for same position high chance for failure. Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, they traded him for Tristan Wirfs. It would have been worth it. But they didn't.
Maybe. Remember we just talked about like Tristan playing right tackle right now. So what if he played left tackle and was a bust?
He was like looking like Penei Sewell, just couldn't do it. Good point. That's a really good point. Facility parking lot is all handicap parking. Oh man.
Ouch. Did you ever see the Niners logo that they made last year? It's the handicap logo with the SF.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty funny. Jerry Jeudy also was another one. Sorry about my Buster Posey take. To me, here's why I troll Bay Area fans on Posey, and then we'll finish up. Because he's borderline. There's an argument can be made. I think he's borderline. But people out here act like he's the greatest baseball player of his era. And it kills me. I mean, come on. Are you kidding? What do you think? You don't live in the Bay Area. Thoughts on Buster Posey? You don't have any. All right, everyone. Thank you very much.
I will tell you. Wait. You're comparing him to Jorge Posada, who was a New York Yankee. I'm an East Coast guy. I'm a Yankees guy, so I'm gonna agree.
I grew up watching Jorge. To me, that guy was just a phenomenal hitter. Switch hitter, just as good from either side. Wasn't as the same fielder as Posey, but I thought he was a better hitter than Posey. I don't know. And he had longevity, unlike Posey. Isn't Posey's lack of longevity? He played like 110 games a year. Come on. But he was he was a man of the community. Really represented the organization well.
Keep trolling.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. No 49ers After Dark tonight with me and Jesse because it's my dad's birthday dinner night. So we'll be back, me and Jesse, tomorrow, and I'll be back tomorrow. Good to see you, Coach. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Peace out.